All right, buckle up, everyone, because today we're diving deep into some murky waters. We're talking about the end of Mary Kelley, and to do that, we're turning to, well, an interesting source.
Oh, lay it on me.
It's a podcast called, get this, Kelley's Corner,
Okay, I'm intrigued.
and the host, none other than Joey Kelley. You know, the one with a bone to pick with Mary, the crime lord who basically had London by the throat.
Mary Kelley, ruthless, clever as a fox, and Clan Kelley was behind it all. Organ trafficking, you name it, they were there.
Yeah, and it's over now, big time over.
That's one way to put it.
This podcast episode drops a bombshell. Mary Kelley is dead. Not by the cops, not by some rival gang, but by DedSec. You know, those hacker guys who've been picking apart her whole operation bit by bit.
This wasn't just random, though. It was the culmination. They've been exposing her, hitting her where it hurts. This was the end game for sure.
You know what really gets me?
Mm-hmm.
The podcast host describes this final showdown. It all went down at one of those organ harvesting clinics Kelley ran. Can you imagine? Talk about a horror show.
Huh.
Drones, gunfire, the whole place went up in flames.
Hold on a second. The fact that it even happened at a place like that, an organ harvesting clinic, that says everything about what she was doing.
And even when she was cornered, Mary Kelley went out fighting. Wouldn't surrender. What does that say to you? Do you feel relieved?
Yeah.
Or is it kind of scary knowing someone like that went down swinging?
Man, that's tough. Yeah, she's gone, but that just shows you how she was, always in control, even facing death. It makes you think, what happens next? She was it, you know? Now there's this big hole, this power vacuum in London's underworld.
And you can tell the podcast host, even with his history with Mary Kelley, he isn't celebrating. He's worried. What about the people she hurt? All those trapped in Clan Kelley's web.
Right. Justice, closure, will any of them get that? Or will they just fade away?
He talks about his best friend Sam, caught up in all this Clan Kelley mess, and even he doesn't know what happened to him. Makes it real personal, you know. Mary Kelley, she touched so many lives, and not in a good way.
No kidding.
Now you've got DedSec. They took down the head honcho, but where do they go from here? The rest of Clan Kelley is still out there, the whole network. The podcast even hints that DedSec might set their sights higher, maybe even go after Albion, that private security outfit with its fingers and everything.
You're talking about stepping into a whole new game. Maybe they become something bigger, a real force for change in London. Taking on the whole surveillance state, that's a huge task.
Yeah, we got Mary Kelley gone, this power vacuum ready to blow, and DedSec, who knows what they'll do. This story's just getting started, and it's going to be wild.
It's like, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Clan Kelley without Mary, it's a recipe for chaos. Someone's going to try to step in.
Yeah, no way this is a clean break. And the podcast host, he gets that.
Oh, yeah, he calls it the calm before the storm. Probably spot on, too. So many players, right?
I mean, think about it. You've got her lieutenants all wanting a piece of the pie, then the other gangs, smelling blood in the water, and then, well, you got DedSec. They're a wild card for sure.
Total wild card.
Oh, and don't forget Albion, that
Mm.
private security outfit. They were mixed up with Clan Kelley. Who knows what they'll do now?
Right. What's their next move? The source even suggests maybe they try to take over, use all this mess to their advantage.
Wow.
It's scary considering how deep they are with all that surveillance stuff.
It's like everyone's circling, waiting to pounce. A gangster movie, but with, like, hackers and tech.
And what about the people stuck in the middle? The people of London, caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, this isn't just some abstract news story. It affects real people. This power struggle, people are going to get hurt.
The podcast host, he talks about those victims, those people forced into that organ trafficking ring. It's brutal. He asks this question, like, what happens to them now? How do they even start to put their lives back together? Who's going to help them?
It's easy to get lost in the drama, who's going to take over and all that. But the human cost, it's real. What does justice even look like for them?
Yeah, he's really hammering on that. And then there's the whole question of accountability. He's like, the people who let Mary Kelley get this powerful, they need to pay too. Corrupt officials, shady businessmen, anyone who looked the other way.
We want a clean slate. Wants to tear down the whole system that allowed someone like her to exist in the first place. Big ask. I don't know if that's even possible.
Yeah, but it shows you maybe this is a chance for real change. Not just taking down one bad guy, but the whole rotten structure underneath.
And that brings us back to DedSec, right? The podcast host, he thinks they're key. Like, they're the good guys, the the ones who can expose the truth.
He goes even further. He thinks they could inspire others to get involved, stand up to this stuff, demand better for London, like a whole movement driven by technology.
It's exciting to think about. But can they actually pull it off? What are they risking?
The source doesn't pretend to have the answers. It's like he's throwing it back to us, the listeners. What do we think? What's our part in all of this?
So we got all these groups, each wanting something different, the potential for things to get violent, and the question of justice. And DedSec, right in the middle, it's a mess, but like the podcast host says, it's a turning point for London. Makes you wonder, one thing happens, Mary Kelley dies, and then boom, who knows what's next? So many possibilities.
Like, dominoes. Or how they say, a butterfly flaps its wings. And look out, right?
London's a big, complicated place.
And this podcast host, he's right there in it, He's not just giving us the facts. He's really thinking about what it all means, especially when it comes to DedSec.
That's the tricky part, isn't it? He knows what they do is illegal, but at the same time, he's making them sound almost like heroes.
It's like where you draw the line, what's good, what's bad, when the whole system's messed up.
Right. He even talks about, are there times when you have to do something bad to make things better? Are DedSec like that? Tough question. And he doesn't give you the answer, does he? He wants you to think about it. He lays it all out, all the different people, what they want, and lets you decide.
Yeah, and he's honest about himself, too. He admits it. He hated Clan Kelley because of what they did to his friends, so maybe he sees DedSec in a different light,
I kind of respect that, him being upfront about it. It's like everyone's got their own angle. Makes the whole thing more, I don't know, real.
Exactly. Like we all see things differently, right? It's good to remember that, especially when you're trying to figure out something this complicated.
So, bottom line, what do we have? No Mary Kelley, everyone fighting for control, and DedSec, who knows what they'll do. The podcast host called it a turning point for London, and I think he's right. It's messy, but it's important.
Yeah. At the end, he tells his listeners, wake up, pay attention, get involved. It was a good message, I gotta say.
He wants people to do something, not just sit back and watch. We all have a part to play, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's just being aware of what's going on.
And that's what I like about this whole deep dive. It's not just about Mary Kelley being dead. It's about bigger things. Justice, what's right and wrong. Can things really change, especially when it seems like the powerful always win?
Feels like the story's still going on, and we're all in it somehow. Our choices, what we do, it all matters.
Yeah.
Kind of scary, but also, kind of exciting.
I get that. It's a rough situation, but maybe, just maybe, something good can come out of it. That's what I'm holding on to.
Me too.
I mean,
Mary Kelley's gone. But the fight for a better London, it's not over. So everyone listening, stay informed, keep thinking for yourselves, and don't lose hope. See you next time.